ABC Chicago. Illinois leaders call for the removal of Broadview ICE facility fence as judge's deadline nears. Yup, a judge said that ICE has to remove a barrier that was put up to stop the rioters. And now Illinois leaders are saying they have to as well. It's patently obvious in my mind. I mean, this is psychotic. You have a federal law enforcement facility that is enforcing the law of the duly elected government, and they are facing riots, and the local government is siding with the rioters.
Yep.
I watched a video the other day of it was a DHS guy, two of them, trying to arrest what is alleged to be an illegal immigrant. I don't know for sure, but there's a Hispanic guy screaming "Ayúdame," to Spanish for help me, and the bystanders do. They intervene and help him escape. That is where we currently are in this country, and I think people need to understand what this leads to. Another example here is this WGN producer who is on video laying on the ground getting arrested. And what did the left report? ICE arrests WGN producer. My response is, what does her job have to do with it? She was arrested for throwing rocks at cops.
Yeah.
Right. If you're standing on the street and you throw a rock at a cop and they arrest you, you don't go like arrested by lawyer or police arrested lawyer. So what we're seeing now is they don't care about what is or is not. They care about power. More importantly, the bifurcation in government is happening. There is no reason, in my opinion. We got Cove Pure. You may have seen this. Utah and Florida recently banned fluoride in their drinking water. Now ask yourself, why are they doing a massive U-turn on a chemical that's been pumped into our water for 80 years? Maybe it's because they finally realized it's authoritarian. You need the freedom to choose pure water. That's why you should check out Cove Pure, a countertop water purifier certified to remove up to 99.9% of impurities. That includes fluoride. Yes, but also all the other garbage, PFAs, fertilizer runoff, pharmaceuticals, you name it. Wow, that's actually insanely impressive. The taste is a game changer too, guys. This is what water's supposed to taste like: pure, clean, no aftertaste. You'll want more, and it's so easy. No drilling, no plumbers. Just fill it, plug it in. The best part is you can choose any temperature, hot or cold, with one tap. If you like fluoride, fine. Use toothpaste, use mouthwash, but don't wait for the government to sort out pure water. Do it yourself. Head over to covepure.com/Tim, and for a limited time, get $200 off. That's COVEPURE.com/Tim. And I will add to this too. We're on well water, so we don't have fluoride in our water, and we use glass bottles for our refillables. To be fair, though, we do offer up plastic for those that don't really care. So I take this very seriously. This is legit. And, Luke Rudkowski watching right now is just banging his head on the table being like, yes! Super awesome, Cove Pure. Check that out. To see why this would reverse. When the federal government says we're going to deport people, the Illinois government says tear down your fences, let the rioters in. Mm-hmm. We've got another video we'll talk about in a little bit where more conservatives are being arrested in Portland. And I'm seeing these people on X post, well, why are the police arresting the victims? Because these conservatives have not gotten it through their head yet. The police are not arresting conservatives. The militarized force of the Pacific Northwest are arresting enemy partisans. That's it. That is not hyperbole. That is not exaggeration. I am not saying civil war. I am saying law enforcement are arresting their enemy partisans. That's what's happening. That's what we're seeing now. Where it goes when the federal government is now fighting with local law enforcement and government over how to enforce federal law, this is 1861 territory. This is very much Illinois saying your facility is forfeit. Open your barriers. The federal government saying absolutely not. Not too dissimilar, though there is still a great degree of difference with Fort Sumter.
Yeah, I mean, look, the fact that they're taking down the fence, this is just asking for something to happen to federal agents.
Of course.
Right, like if they have barriers up, they're there to protect the federal agents and to allow the federal agents to control the rioters and protesters and stuff. If you take that down, you're putting federal agents in harm's way. You're making it possible for the protesters and the black bloc and the rioters to actually attack the building itself.
In Portland, when the ICE facility barricaded their windows with boards, the city filed a zoning violation saying they had to remove the boards from their windows. This is a federal facility just putting up boards. You could put boards on your windows. It's riots. I had a conversation with R.N. McIntyre earlier about, Bleeding Kansas and the violence that led up to the Civil War. And the point he made was that the Civil War didn't start with Fort Sumter. It had been going on for 7 years prior, where people had been moving from other states into Kansas to try and influence the politics because they knew every state that entered as either a slave state or a free state would affect federal level politics. I see similarities between what we're seeing here, the Spanish Civil War, Syrian, French Revolution, Bolsheviks, all of these things, because the underlying circumstances are similar for all of these things. We're at the point now where Trump has deployed Texas National Guard into Illinois. A separate state of the opposing ideology has volunteered a force of military to be dispatched into a rival political state to enforce the law. A judge has just blocked their deployment to the streets, but is allowing Trump to federalize local military.
Let me give you a little background, because I told you off air that this book, I Went to Prison So You Won't Have to. My experience with the justice system kind of explains exactly what's going on in Illinois, what's going on in Portland. For example, the judge, Amit Mehta, who was the judge in my case, through the course of that case would strip me, Tim, of every single defense I had. So by the time I got to a jury, I had no defense. He basically took away my constitutional rights to defense as he stripped away the constitutional separation of powers. Now, how does that pertain to this situation? In the 2016 election, in the 2012 election, when Obama was going for his second term, Amit Mehta was what's called a bundler. You guys know what a bundler is? A bundler is a guy who goes around and collects checks from different people, puts them in a bundle and hands them over, in this case, to the Obama campaign. So this judge, Amit Mehta, bundled campaign contributions for Obama. And then once Obama got reelected, Amit Mehta gets appointed to this prestigious position on the bench. But it gets worse. He knows that in order to move up the chain, first to the appeals court, and the district court in D.C., the appeals court, has been the breeding ground for a lot of Supreme Court justices. He knows that in order to get to the Supreme Court, he wants to be the first Indian American to get there. He knows he's got to kiss the derriere of the Democrats and side with their ideology. And this guy is a total pragmatist. He uses I call him the jackal, because he's used these clever arguments always to side with it. And that, Tim, that's the problem we're facing now with all of these judges. Every time Donald Trump tries to do something which is well within the law, a politician in a black robe who's ambitious and got there only because he pandered politically to the people who appointed him, basically you wind up with a situation where then we've got to take it up the chain. And thank God that we have at least a majority on the Supreme Court, but it takes time. We're only there, they know this, for 1,500 days, Tim. That's the first thing I learned during the first term. It's like that day that I left, that administration at the end of 4 years, I knew that I'd be turning that place back to a bunch of people who hated this country and were going to do things. We're only there for 1,500 days. If they can delay us that way, or, for example, if Congress can delay the appointments of people going into our bureaucracy, which they've done again to us, and that's on Schumer, then they win. So that's why this battle what we're seeing. The outrage we see here is this kind of thing. They want to take the fences down, expose our ICE agents of violence, but the root of that evil is a judiciary which has been weaponized because of the political nature of how it's formed.
I think the judiciary is their current cudgel, but there is a moral worldview among what we would call the multicultural democracy inside of this country. Democrats may not have represented this moral worldview 5 to 10 years ago, but with AOC dominating the par with Zohran Mamdani rising up, it has become apparent that as the younger generation gets older and inherits or seizes this power, More and more, we are seeing a Republican Party that represents the constitutional republic of America and the Democrats that represent the multicultural democracy of America.
Let's not forget the role of illegal immigration in all of this.
That's exactly the point.
When you add 20 million people in 4 years,
That's
Minimum.
and tens of millions before that, and they bring in the worst kind of memory bank of bad dictators and despots and corrupt regimes from Africa and Latin America and Asia, you're going to get what you get. I mean, Mamdani is like the symbol of that. I mean, that guy is like dangerous because he's so charming in a way, but he's poison to the core.
You know, I hear a lot from the conservatives about, the worst of the worst, the criminals they're bringing in. I don't care. I don't care if they're bringing in a Honduran migrant farmer who prays every day on Sunday and just wants to buy biscuits. Importing multicultural democracy destroys American society.
That's the point. Yep. That is the point, Tim. That's the point I'm making. It's like this whole idea of America being a melting pot.
Yep.
Man, that stopped about 30, 40 years ago.
Yep. Yeah.
Okay? There's no assimilation.
This was proven with the Iraq War. You cannot take a population that does not believe in a certain governmental or societal structure and then just force that societal structure on them. We went into Iraq. We took the Ba'ath Party, we de-Ba'athized, took the Ba'ath Party out completely. But the people of Iraq were not Jeffersonian Republican Democrats. They did not want a democracy. Yeah, I mean, it's 100% true. But the point that I'm making is the left doesn't acknowledge that experiment was done and it failed, and it's failed over and over and over.
They don't care.
No, well, I think we got to get a different direction. It says right, left, and then it's something else. Okay, because the traditional left has no relationship. The left itself, historically, does not recognize what that is.
Well,
I respectfully disagree.
Left and right doesn't mean anything. It just means factions. We might as well say red or blue.
Yes.
Well, here's what I respectfully disagree, and really with the utmost respect, because I appreciate everything you've done, and I think you're on the money with this other stuff.
Part, I guess. Yeah.
The big part I disagree with is that the left today doesn't represent the left historically. The left came onto the scene with the French Revolution. This is where we get the term. And what did they do? They were abusing nuns. They were murdering priests. They were slaughtering aristocrats. The whole goal was essentially destroying the Catholic Church, destroying tradition, ending the lives of innocent people. And the left is still up to that today. They're just using very different tools to do it.
Don't forget Spain.
The
Spanish Civil War.
Oh, yeah, digging nuns up and putting their corpses on display at churches. I guess my point is,
if you look in American history, though, the left, did we ever do this before?
Well, but that's also because, and this is my position on the left generally, and I think the historic record bears this out, the only time the left has not violently subjugated and slaughtered Christians has been when there was a strong enough right-wing movement in the country to marginalize them to the point where they couldn't do that.
And I would say the left.
Indeed.
And I would say the left. I said this last week, but the left has a history of the Weather Underground, a lot of domestic Marxist terrorists, and this is kind of always the foundation of everything they do. It's violence. That's how they try to wield power.
Thanks for checking out this clip from Timcast IRL. Make sure to watch the show live Monday through Friday at 8 p.m. Subscribe to this channel, and we will see you all there.